Hello everyone. I just thought to make a quick little video to say hi and see how you're doing. See how you're doing since the eclipse, how it went for you, if you're able to see it or not, or what's been new. Spring is officially here in this area. And I know historically it's kind of like a season of new beginnings and many facets, like things literally are coming back to life and budding. There's new growth and new life, and after a long season of winter where things are just kind of stagnant and cozy and restful, it feels good to branch out again. And it's funny how, I don't know, it's like the seasons invite us to be a certain way, but do you think that the seasons affect how we are, or it would be something that would happen naturally? So like if you're living in a place where it's summer weather all the time, would you ever feel or notice a change in the seasons? For instance, so like, I don't know, like when it's winter here, like, okay, if I'm living in New York and I move to Florida or something like that, come the winter, even if there's no snow and things, would I still feel the urge to hibernate in a way and withdraw and just kind of like stagnate and be cozy, or as a cardinal side, or would I just like be in the summer vibe all the time because it's warm and sunny? I don't know, but I'm excited for the spring and the summer, and just the feeling of like yesterday was really warm. It was in the 70s Fahrenheit, and it's just so amazing. Just my soul comes alive, and it was just I was totally made for the summertime, like summertime weather, summer weather, sunshine kind of thing, not like blazing hot, but just the sun is so rejuvenating and enlivening, especially after a long period without it. But definitely grateful for it. And I'm curious how, the eclipse was for you, if you're feeling any like, or have experienced any new beginnings or endings, and what that's looked like for you. If you want to talk about it or share. I've definitely had endings and new beginnings and endings and realizations and feels like kind of like an awareness of certain patterns in my life. You know, when you're aware of something, but it's just like you're aware of it, but it's just kind of like things stay the same. I think in certain areas I've noticed that in my life, but it's weird. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like you're aware of something, but then like around the eclipse, it's like this feeling of blinders coming off and being hit like tenfold with realizations I already kind of had. It's really interesting. But it's just this a message and idea in a way where it's like we're the creators of our reality in a way. Like we can choose what we do or what we don't do, and how we react to something or not react to it. We can control our perception of something. Obviously, like we see something a certain way, but we could shift it if we really wanted to. Or just like refuse to let something make us feel a certain way, or demand that something change in our life or make the changes we need to make and override any fears or anxieties and just do it. And I don't know, sometimes I have or think about these things where it's like I'll have this realization, and maybe I shared this before, but it's like I could just drive to another state right now if I really wanted to. If I really wanted to, I could. Or just like fly somewhere. It's just there's so many things that we could do, and we can either do them or not, or think about them. But I feel like, and I feel like I've been in this place for a long time in my life where it's like trying to figure out what I want to do. And isn't it funny how, like, when we try to figure out what we want to do with our life, so much of it is job related, as if that's like the main thing that we should be focusing on and doing in our life. And I know it kind of like, I don't say needs to be, but like obviously if you're making a living, you know, to survive and everything. But just in general, isn't it funny how it does take the wheel of so much of your life, like what you do, and not what you are, I guess. And I guess for me, like personally, what if I shifted more of my focus on who or what I am? But at the same time, I feel like I do that a lot. Anyway. I kind of felt the urge to say I feel less inquisitive. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think I'm still very inquisitive, but I think I've been less like searchy, if that makes sense. I've been less drawn to whether or not it's a good thing or not, or just is. I think it just is. But I think like, I don't know, I know everyone's different, but I know there are all these different phases of life and how things change, and which is like really good in a way. I was thinking about this yesterday, how for instance I used to only like large dogs and I didn't really like small dogs. Like I personally never wanted one. I just had no desire to have a small dog ever. And now within probably the past year, like I think having a small dog would be awesome. So I was just thinking about how things change, people change, and how it can be a good thing that we change and don't remain the same way all the time. But where's it going with that? Oh no. Oh, it's funny when I do that. I think about like so many different things. Things changing. Oh no. I know, I'm distracted by the neighbors outside too. I get like kind of I'm like right by the window and I'm just like, no one look at me. No one look in here. Just let me do my thing in here. Oh, no one look at me. Oh, cycles and everything. So, and I would say, was it 2020 is when I got like introduced to crystals and got really into oracle cards. And even before that, I started like reading kind of like more esoteric books and like self-help type stuff. And then I was just like consuming that kind of stuff for what felt like so long, like years. And I would listen to YouTube videos even before that too. I was really big into TED Talks and just like taking as much information as possible. and learning all I could about all these different things. I love to learn. But um it was kind of this dynamic, which I think is really common when people are getting into kind of like spiritual stuff, of I think it's really easy for people to give their power away, and I think I definitely did that. It's kind of that stage, if you will. And I say a stage, but I guess it's not necessarily a stage. I think for some people, like having a guru is like their thing, and that's totally fine. But I just kind of look at like kind of like spiritual journey and this stage, if you will, of being at the point where you're at the beginning and you're learning about all these different things about the universe and all that is, and it's just like so interesting. So it's like reading and watching stuff all the time and meditating like hardcore and loving it. I loved it. um and yeah, I think like, you know, giving your power away, like thinking people are like certain people, like super spiritual, like guru types who say they have like all the answers, like spiritual masters and everything, not like knocking them down, but um just like at that point where you kind of think like some people might have more like abilities and things than you, like say like psychics or anything, where it's like you're giving your power away because you're like, tell me certain things about my life, but you know, you're like in control of your life too. You don't have to like give your power away and try to ask other people answers. But anyway, so that was like a stage. And now I'm just kind of like, I feel like I just kind of am right now, and I'm still enjoying reading things and learning, but it's like, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's just like less of a searchy, seeking vibe. Not that I ever like saw myself as seeking, I don't think, but even though I probably was was seeking. But I guess in a way it's natural to seek too, because there are so many questions. Like there's so many things about life that I don't know and we don't know, and you can like say you know and feel like you know, but you still might not know, or like fully believe you know, and then later on you find out you don't really know. So um so in a way, long story short, I feel like I'm in a similar space where I've been before, because I'm at like this, I want to use the word precipice, but I don't know if that's what I actually want to say. I'm at a point in my life where I feel like there are so many paths I could go down in a way. Like there's so many choices, and I I don't know what the choice is, I guess. Like what it is I want to do. Um and yeah, I think I felt that way a lot. And I wonder too, like I think sometimes I feel that way because I don't think personally I feel like and maybe this is kind of like self-isolating to think this way, but I feel like I don't relate to a lot of the standard ways of living. Like, and I think a lot of people don't either. So it's not like I'm unique in that, but just like the typical like 9 to 5 and like married with kids, nice house, nice car, it's just like doesn't really appeal to me. And I think maybe that's why a lot of my life I've felt kind of like unsure of what I want to do, because it's like while I want to do something and give back and be passionate about something and find my place, it's like I don't feel like life is meant to be just like working all the time. Like especially doing something you don't like. So I think that I'm just kind of like figuring out what life is about and like what works for me, and um just like learning as I go. And I think maybe everyone's kind of doing the same thing. So I'm probably not at all unique in that. And I wonder how many people think they know what they want and then they get it and it's not at all what they wanted. Or I feel like that happens all the time where people chase after what is societally seen as success and something to go after, and just like things you do because you just, that's what you do, like whether it's like getting married or having like a certain career or a certain achievement, and then they get those things and they're just like, wait, like what is this? Like this isn't why I thought. So I would say that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I'm at a point where I think a lot of people get to in life at some point where um, there are just like infinite possibilities. And what do you do with that? Like, where do you go from there? And I think what I usually do in life is just follow the things that light me up, that interest me, and try to just do that. Or if I get certain just like random urges, like, oh, go this way, do this, like try this out, like, oh, this class sounds interesting, or I feel like going left today for some reason, or craving this today and I feel like stopping here today, and you go somewhere and like something happens, like you meet someone or you run into someone you haven't seen forever, or you just like discover something new. So I feel like kind of like talking all over the place, but I haven't felt like chatty lately either. Like these videos and things, I've had an urge to make like another eye gazing video and chatty videos, but I just like haven't actually, it's like I want to but don't. It's like I'll feel an urge like, oh, I should make another one of those, but I haven't really felt like I had anything to say. I felt very like quiet, very quiet lately, and contemplative, and I mean just like what was the noise? Um yeah, just like learning things, figuring things out, seeing things in new ways with new eyes, and having new awarenesses. And then it's like, what do you do with certain awarenesses? Or when you see things that need to change, like, can you make the changes needed? Like, do you have the, like, you have the power to make the changes? Will you make the changes? That's kind of where I'm at. Even going back to like following things like interest in things, even something like silly, like being on YouTube and just seeing a random video that seems interesting and you click on it and it's just like it kind of opens up a new interest or just like new channel you like to watch, and if it's like so random and not something you thought you'd like. Or earlier I was cleaning out the back of my car and I had these binoculars my aunt gave me like last year now, I'm pretty sure, that they've been in there in my trunk, and I just took them out and looked in our backyard and was looking at birds, and it was so cool. I was just like, okay, I think I found my new favorite thing to do, is just like looking at birds and things with binoculars. And looking through them, it felt weird. It feels like fake. Like it looks like you're looking at like a weird fake picture, but it's reality. Just like looking at things really far away, but it just looks so weird. It's very strange, but really cool. I guess lastly, I will share two things. One, they both are bird related, so hopefully I remember both while I'm talking about the one thing. The first thing was I saw a heron flying over the house today this morning when I took my dog outside, and it was carrying a stick in its beak, and I thought that was so weird. I've never seen anything like it, and we have a field out back by our house, and so it was flying overhead, and it dropped the stick in the field, and I was just like, what? That was so weird. That was just really weird. It was a pretty big stick. So that was like kind of weird and funny. And another bird thing, even though this was not real, I'm curious if you have any interest in trying to figure out what this means. Sometimes I have dreams and I wonder if they have a meaning, and I like to try to figure out what it means. So I had a dream the other night, I've never had one like this, where there was a white dove and it was bleeding. And I think its wing was injured. I'm not like 100% sure, but it was bleeding. And I was trying to help it, and it was like flying away. It was really scared. And I kept trying to like go near it to help it, and it kept like going and flying. And I was just like, don't fly, like you're hurt, like stop flying. Because it was bleeding near the wing area. So I assumed that like its wing was injured. And in watching it, I was like in a wooded area. There were all these like trees and everything, and the ground had like fallen leaves and like all these different things. And I noticed there were more white doves, but they were all fine. They weren't hurt at all. It was just like the one that I was kind of focused on. And focusing on the one, I realized that there was more around, and they were all fine. And they were all okay. They weren't bleeding, but just someone was bleeding. And I woke up and I was just like, what does that mean? And I tried Googling things and I couldn't really find anything. Just kind of found the meaning of white doves, which to me equate to like peace and things like that. But I was just like, what does that mean? If it means anything. But it's just, sometimes, maybe or not, if you have a dream, it just like feels like there's like a meaning. So anyway, I feel like I blabbed a lot. I thought about journaling, and I think because this video is already over 20 minutes, I'm just gonna cut it here. And I might journal on my own. It's probably close to 7 now, I'm guessing. It's been a nice day. I woke up pretty early, and I'm trying to make, especially with like spring here, I think it's easier to make new choices. There's like more inspiration with the nice weather and everything. There's more like inspiration to go outside and everything. So I want to start doing more things like going out in nature and walking and stuff like I have before. Because in the winter, I don't really feel like doing that, honestly. So I just feel like being out in nature more. So thank you for being here. I hope all is well, and thank you for tuning in. And yeah, thank you.